So, as we continue the story, we got married. I happen to be born here in the United States, so I have citizenship. He did not.
No.
Nor did he have any kind of permanent residency.
No.
So now we're in a situation where I'm the only one that can work. He can't. We need to put in our papers. I'm super young, and guess what? It's the year 2008. Now, if you don't remember what happened in the year 2008, the entire United States went into a recession.
I remember. Gas was like really cheap, and
That's what he remembers about the recession.
I remember the whole thing.
$1 gas.
Listen, I remember one week I went to get gas, and it was like $4, and it was like really hot outside, and my tank wasn't gonna get far with the $20 bill I had. And then I remember the next few days later, me and my buddy, he wanted to go somewhere, and we went to the car and we filled it up because it was like $2 and something.
At one point,
cents.
it was like $1.99 at some point. I remember that. I'll never forget. But I just graduated college. So I'm there with a bachelor's degree, all excited, right? Because yay, now I can go to the top of the workforce. And we had vice presidents working at Burger King.
Oh. Yeah,
and it was tough. So now I have to look for literally anything. So I have to say that was probably one of the first real issues of our marriage, the finances. And then
that's gonna be an issue with everybody.
Yes.
Every marriage.
To this day, I think when we did a study or we looked it up, and there were, I think, 4 or 5 reasons that people get divorced, and money was very, very high at the top. I can't remember if it was the highest reason, but yeah, it could do something to you. Mm-hmm. And we've been through all stages and all levels of money. And I thank God for allowing us to do that, because now that we're in a position where it's much better, we can appreciate, and we still like very much appreciate the value of a single dollar, because we have come from a long way, especially when it comes to finances. But let's go back to the story. I had just gotten a job at Norwegian Cruise Line, and it was super fun. It was a sales job, but at that time you were just trying to work anywhere. Mm-hmm. And the very first month was all training. Training was hands down phenomenal. You got to learn everything about the ship. They went through all of their benefits. They did sales training. I loved it. It was like class.
It's paid training.
It was paid training at that. So I was like top of my class. Top of my class. It's work. It's crazy. And so the full month, went through, and that was fine. And now it's time for you to work on the sales floor. My first day, I remember having a mild mental panic attack. Because I know people have actual panic attacks, but I just had a mental panic attack, and I just froze like right where I was, and I was in a cubicle. And I just thought this cannot be the rest of my life. No like disrespect or anything to anyone that's working in that field. I know for me, I'm just like, this is not where God has me to be. And so I was like, I hope I could get better. I hope I could feel better. The next day, I don't remember what happened to make me say, you probably need to take a test. I don't know if maybe I was late, something like that. And I got the test, went into the bathroom at work there. And yeah, that was the first time I learned how to use Clear Blue. First time I learned Clear Blue. I didn't realize that the plus meant I was 20, okay? The plus meant pregnant, because as soon as I used it, it immediately turned to plus. So I thought that was like the loading sign, and I had to wait for it. And so, yeah, and then so I read the thing, and they were like, after 15 minutes, and I'm like, well, it's been the same way for the past 15 minutes. And I looked, and they were like, that probably means you're pregnant. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
I think you took another one, because normally.
I did take another one, and I thought it was broken.
All of you guys who have had to, take that walk of shame into the store to pick up a test because you're not sure. They come in packs of 2 or 3, so yeah. I think we had more than one.
This one was 2.
So she wanted a second opinion.
Yeah, and they were both very, very clear.
Still wasn't enough though. We arranged a doctor's appointment. Of course. So
I'm like, there's no way. Remember, my birth control method was a wing and a prayer. So there's no way I could have been pregnant.
She's much of a better prayer warrior now, though.
I'm much more.
God didn't hear that prayer. Or maybe he heard what he wanted to hear, and
So yeah, no,
made it
that is
happen the way
where
you wanted it
the
to happen.
exercising of wisdom is important, and we can't just throw faith on everything, or not even just necessarily faith, just the words of I'm believing, but there's like a clear exercising of wisdom that needs to be done. So if you're doing the do and you're not wrapping it up, you can't just say, well, God's gonna make sure that I'm like, God's like, I ain't making sure of nothing. But I'm just saying, so I thought it was a wing and a prayer, but I was pregnant. So after that pregnancy was a little rocky, right? Because early on, the doctors found a white spot. They called it a white spot on her heart. And that was difficult because they were saying she probably could have Down syndrome.
That's normally
What it is, like a sign.
of
So
maybe
we
having
had to
that.
go to the doctor
We were
constantly.
going every week.
Every single week,
To
I
do
had to
another
do an
ultrasound.
ultrasound and another ultrasound. And it was there until she was born.
Thank God for Medicaid, because we all know ultrasounds are like $600-$700 a time or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. Like we
So,
said,
you
at
know.
this point, early on, I'm the only person working and it's not cheap.
Every week we were going to the neonatal
Yes, neonatal care.
place, and
And they just, they wanted us to be prepared for what could happen. But I'm so happy that I was still a prayer warrior back then, as much as I am right now. And we all were, and we kept lifting her up, and I prayed over her every single day. And we had her. Whew, I'm really fast forwarding even through the 3 days of labor. I would say 4 days, but he'll probably say, honey, it was 3 days of labor to even have her, but I had to end up having a C-section. But she came out and she was our perfect little girl. And they didn't see the white spot on her heart anymore when she came out, praise the Lord. And so that was our first little one. She's our darling heart. We love her very much. She's very much like her dad. You'll probably get to see her, or just see her, not probably hear from her. She's an introvert. I don't know if you could tell that this one's an introvert, but us being together,
this is just a
he's
lens.
now-
I don't see any of you guys.
he's now kind of in the middle. Yes, that was our first. And then we had a baby boy 15 months later, and he's our pride and joy, we call him the king of the castle. And
He should have been born in a castle.
he really should have been born in a
Oh,
castle. He's
His
on a whole other
expectancy was
level.
different.
But then we had, fast forward, how old was he when we had our last? That's a whole other segment and a whole other video altogether to talk about our very last one. But
The dates, the years, will timeline it. So we had
our
The
first in 2009, and then we had
second
Ben
in
in 2011. Bella was in 2018.
The Boss. The Boss we
7
had in
years.
2018.
The boss waited 7 years. I guess 7 years is perfection, and she had to make sure that it was perfect timing. And we had her, and now our family is complete.
We're done. And this video is almost done too. So if you're still here, please subscribe, because it's gonna get better. If you don't like this video, then click to the next video. At least I do care, but please come back.
But yes, so that's our story, just to give you a little background. And we want to thank you so much for joining in. Please subscribe to the channel. We're so excited again to start this journey with you. And we hope to see you again soon, or we hope that you tune in again. When
We'll
is
be
that?
back with a new video soon.
We'll be back. Maybe every week, right?
We'll see.
We'll see you guys next week. Stay tuned. You're going to get more videos from us on a weekly basis. And so we want to thank you so much for tuning in to Cash Family Values.
Yay, Cash Family Values.
Mwah.